Debunking the hit piece video against Kevin Samuals? Coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Conversation Logical Reason. As always, I'm going to say thank y'all for joining me today. So I often talk about how Thomas Sotomayor is always attacked with ad hominem attacks. Well, Kevin Samuels is also attacked a lot as well. And mostly this is coming from a lot of black women because the information that he puts out pretty much hits them harder than anybody. And as they say, that old line, that old saying, if you draw a stone in a pack of dogs, the one that screams the loudest is the one that got hit. Well, black females are being hit by the content that he put out, but it's only truth. The problem is with the left, and often the case with women, is they just don't do a very good job of dealing with criticism that's truthful against them. They get mad and they lash out, attack, they get emotional. Well, a YouTuber by the name of T-Salt put out this hit piece video against Tommy. Now, I don't know who she is. You can tell it's a woman. I'm assuming it's a woman, but she doesn't show her face. It's one of those YouTubers who make content and they don't show their face, so you really don't know. But she put out, like I said, this hit piece video trying to say that Kevin Samuels is a hypocrite and he contradicts his own sayings and his messages. Now, y'all know I always say, beware of the leftist 3-4 second clip. And this is a common tactic of the left, because they will take something, 3 seconds of a video that was maybe 10 minutes and try to paint a narrative that wasn't there. What you can see wasn't the case if you watch the 10-minute video in its full context. They always got to edit out the full context. But anyway, so we're going to go into this video, this hit piece video that she put out about Kevin Samuels, and I'll go in and come back and debunk it.
Ask for it, you got it, Toyota. It's Men's Week. And in Men's Week, we do content strictly directed at the men, for the men, man stuff.
My disagreement is there's one thing. Every time when you have a conversation about with a sister or something like that, you always throw saying, if it was Marisol or Becky, she would behave, her voice, this and that. Like, where did you get that? How'd you came up with that?
That's not a disagreement. That's not a disagreement. That's not a disagreement.
Oh, well, my disagreement is because they're crazy too.
Okay.
They're crazy women because.
Okay.
No one talks about.
Okay, they're crazy women. They're crazy women everywhere. But I speak in broad generalizations that are broadly true for most people. 7 billion people on the planet. I can't speak for everything. That's ridiculous. We try to make everything. This is splitting hairs, my friend.
Well, I understand that part, but it's just.
Do you?
In general, the bigger picture for me.
Okay.
So Kevin puts Becky and Marisol on a pedestal like many black men do, with their false narrative that they are feminine and soft-spoken and cooperative. But when he's called out on it by this man, his answer is just to hang up on him. This was supposed to be a discussion between 2 men. Kevin asked him what his disagreement was. This man was not loud or aggressive and was very respectful. And it seems like he was about to say something positive about black women. So what does Kevin do? He hangs up.
Okay, right off from the start, she comes out with the bull crap. Right? Now, Tommy Sotomayor, not Tommy, I always say Tommy, but Kevin Samuels never says to worship Becky, Mylene, and Marisol. The only thing he says about them is black men should consider them as options if they can't find what they're looking for amongst black women, and specifically femininity, because there's no secret that black women tend to be the most masculine and have the most masculine energy of all women in America and probably in the world. And this is one of the things that black men complain about. Kevin just simply says, if you can't find that femininity amongst black female, then you need to explore your options otherwise. Now, what she does here, as far as the gentleman he was talking to, she basically conflated two different videos. Clearly, the video that she showed, first video of Kevin saying, this is men's week, we're gonna deal with men's issues, was a completely different video from the second one that she put up. I mean, you can tell by, number one, look at the lighting. The first video was bright, you can see everything, and then the second video, the lighting was turned down, and it was very dark, and it was a kind of a reddish hue, so there was a red light somewhere. But these are two different videos that she's conflated, unless she shows that there's evidence we can find out that somewhere in the video Kevin Samuels turned the lighting down. But then there was also a different camera angle. So did he have multiple cameras in that one video? She's basically conflating two different videos. One video when he says that this is going to be about men's issues, and then clearly another video when Kevin was a disagreement video, but this was a disagreement with men. And a guy who was calling in with the glasses didn't have a disagreement. You're like, what's your disagreement? He didn't have a disagreement. He's asking a question, so he just cut him off. But how is that wrong? I mean, if this is a disagreement show, then you need to come in with a disagreement and come straight out with a disagreement, because you don't want to keep speaking a whole bunch of words or leading up. Just speak your disagreement. But moving on.
What's your disagreement?
The only thing I disagree with is the colorism in the black community. I do believe that it is colorism amongst, I remember watching the videos when women were talking about the colorism thing, and you were denying it, saying that it wasn't.
When have I ever denied colorism? When have I ever denied colorism?
No, you were telling the dark-skinned women that, it wasn't because of their complexion, and I've dated dark-skinned women.
Dude, I'm talking to men tonight.
Yeah.
Men's issues.
First he said, call in if you have a disagreement. Now he says the disagreement has to be about men. And you'll notice in this video, when he can't defend his position, he's going to move the goalpost a few more times.
Okay, this gentleman here accuses Kevin Samuels of denying colorism. Now, what is colorism for those who don't know? Well, colorism is this ridiculous notion that black people discriminate against darker black people, and added to all the rest of the nonsense, and I put it up there with blacks crying about racism or feminists crying about being oppressed. It's just nonsense. But does it exist? To a certain extent, yes, it does. It does matter. I've seen situations in which I look at a female and she was darker skinned. She may not have looked at it attractive, but a chick who was lighter skinned, people say she's beautiful. But what I often do is, if I see a light skinned chick, I will imagine if she's dark skinned and think, well, would she be as attractive? And sometimes she wouldn't be. So yes, colorism exists, but it doesn't exist nowhere near as bad as they're making it out to be. Now, this gentleman basically claimed that Kevin told a group of dark-skinned women that it's not about their complexion. Well, that doesn't equal to denying colorism. He just simply told them the same thing he tells black women in general, that it's not your skin color, it's your attitude. If black women would stop being so masculine, then they wouldn't be the least desired. But again, it's not your skin color, it's your attitude. And this is across the board. Men saying this across the board. Hey, the problem with black women is they tend to be the most masculine. So stop worrying about your skin color and start being more feminine. And that's what Kevin Samuels says all the time.
Okay, so I apologize for talking about the issue with the women. So the issue with the men that I disagree with, which is on topic, is just giving a high value man like a green card to cheat, saying like it's okay for him to exercise his options.
Nobody ever said that. What he chooses to do, as long as he's taking care of home, is none of your business. If he's providing a lifestyle that 90+% of women could only dream of, you need to be quiet.
What I don't know won't hurt me.
No, what you know will get you being what you don't what you know will get you a when women for since recorded history have understood that if you want a man who's exceptional, you're gonna have to deal with some stuff. Y'all want a man who's exceptional, you don't want any pain. You better go ask Betty Wright. You better go ask No Pain, No Gain. I mean, you're old enough to know better.
And
No,
I guess
loyalty,
it's just
loyalty.
wrapping our
See,
minds
men
around
show
that.
you loyalty by coming home. Men show you loyalty by keeping the mortgage paid and keeping you provided for. See, when a man cheats on you, this is what it looks like. When he goes and buys his mistress the same size house he got you. When he goes and buys her the matching Mercedes you got. When he buys her the same shoes and the same bag and the same everything else, then he's cheating. Rules to it. And you guys got to understand, high value or whatever, you cheat, you got to understand you cannot embarrass your woman. No outside kids, no divorces, no embarrassments. Those are the rules. No outside kids, no divorces, no embarrassments. And there is also a fourth rule. You can't be putting financial strain on your primary family.
Absolutely.
So, and that comes from outside kids. When have I ever said that high value men get a pass on cheating or exercising options? When have I ever said that? That high value men, have options. And they can choose to exercise them. And women who are smart, who are married to high value men, shut the French toast up and accept the fact that they chose a man who's a cut above the rest.
Kevin Samuels always have said that I've seen him that high value men don't cheat. They exercise options. And the reason why, well, because high value men tend to be the most eligible men. They seem to be the most sought out men for women. The men that women choose the most. And basically women, as I've seen, most of these females will rather share a high value man than they get their own man who's of low value. Well, as long as that's going to happen, then high value men are going to always have access to women. Now, Kevin Samuels explains, though, what he means that high value men don't cheat, and that's not what men, that's not the man cheating on a woman. A man cheating on a woman is if he put his household in a financial strain, cheating on a woman or going with another female. If he gives another female exactly the same thing, the exact same car, same house as, a side chick as his wife, then that will be considered cheating from a man's standpoint. Now, if she takes this video, which looks like to be an older video, there are two videos in that fact. That one video he's saying that he never said that high value men get to cheat with this guy. Then she brings up another video. This one is really looks like it's an older video of him saying, well, yes, they get to cheat because they have those options. And to me, it's not really a conflict, a contradiction. It's more a matter of him just refining his ideas. Because again, the second video she brought up seems like it was much older. However, the principle still stands. If history tells us that high value men have always exercised options and they've always had these access to women, then you can't deny history, regardless of what you want to call it. So this here is just splitting hairs, hard reaching to do the best you can to try to say that Kevin Samuels contradiction, but this is only a small percentage of the content that he covers.
I was just listening to what you was talking to it was the one guy that got on here and he was talking about that he make $45,000 a year. And he ended up saying that he can't support a family, but a lot of times when you talk about average men, you talk about
what is your disagreement?
You talk about around 45, 50.
What is your disagreement?
That you told him that he shouldn't even be thinking about marriage because he makes $45,000 a year.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Actually, that's exactly what Kevin said just minutes before. In addition, that's exactly what he tells women all the time, to accept average earning men who make $45,000 a year or more. This is the man who Kevin had the conversation with, and even he called him out on this talking point, that he is an average earner making $45,000 a year, but Kevin says he can't provide for a family.
You said I asked you how long you known her. 8 years. You've known her long enough to know who she is and what she's about. You said you were with her for 1 year. I said to what end? You said to marriage, and you're not in a position to be a husband. You can't provide for a family. You shouldn't have been in a relationship. That's the ultimate answer. You shouldn't have been in a relationship. She should have been on out somewhere else, dealing with somebody who wanted what she wanted, but you were not in a position to deal with any women to that end. Casually, socially, sure. But talking about a wife, you can't provide.
Okay, so that goes against stuff that you said previously, because what I make currently right now is average income. I average about 45,000 a year.
Goldstein, you've already
Well, this is
demonstrated. Okay, sir, please. I have plenty of people. If you don't have a specific disagreement about something I said, I'm going to the next person.
okay. I'm speaking about something you said, sir.
Do you have a specific disagreement that you're bringing? Nothing about I've said tonight. What do you have? Go.
That a man is unevenly yoked, being an average man with a woman that's going for a double degree. That doesn't make him unevenly yoked with her.
Okay, well then that's your opinion.
Well, you
Fine.
speak on this because you
That's your
always say
opinion.
that
I said you're unevenly. So if you believe something different, then here's the thing. Okay, you can't overtalk me. You can't overtalk me.
It's not where I plan on staying or what I'm working towards in the future.
I get it. I get that. However, you were dating a woman who is heavily degreed, and women respond to power. Unfortunately, she dwarfed you in power potential. So the only place you could dominate and show any power is in the bedroom, because she did not have to take you seriously. You weren't on the same level.
Once again, Kevin is not standing on his position, and this is one of his major talking points, that a woman's degree does not matter to men. But when he talks to men, he tells them they're not evenly yoked with women if the woman has a degree. So which is it?
now a person's job title, whether or not their job title, if they're say a musician, that like a producer or something like that. We were speaking on average men making the income of 45 to 50,000 a year. That's what we're speaking on. We're not speaking on job
No,
titles.
you mix subjects.
Right?
You mix subjects, man. You mix subjects. That's what you did. And here's the problem. That's why I asked you about your specific disagreement, because you came in talking about a conversation that you were third party to. You mixing subjects. That's the problem. This is hearsay. I know the conversation I had with that man. He's not even making the argument you're making. That's why I keep asking you, what is your specific disagreement about things that I specifically say and you don't have them? So I'm going to bid you a good evening. Thank you.
Okay, Kevin Samuels always have told men, hey, get your money up. Right? Especially if you want to support a family, depending on where you live. And he also tells females, hey, if you want to be a high earner, you're going to go out there and do what it takes to be a high earner, you may have to date down. Now, we know that women consider dating or marrying a man that makes less than them dating down. Well, the problem is that the energy and effort that it takes to go out here and be a high earner often sometimes makes women more masculine, something that men who are very high earners or these high value men just don't accept. So if you keep making all of this money and you developing these attitudes that high earning men do not want in women, well, you may have to consider dating down. Anyway, she brings up a video of him speaking to this guy who supposedly make $45,000 a year, and Kevin Samuels tells this guy he shouldn't even be thinking about marriage. I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, I don't agree with everything that Kevin Samuels says, but they're trying to say that she's trying to say that this is a contradiction. He tells this guy that if you make $45,000 a year, you shouldn't be thinking about a relationship. Meanwhile, telling women that they should consider dating down. Well, what's the contradiction? I mean, if a man makes $45,000 a year and he starts dating a woman making $90,000 a year, can they support a household? I would say yes. I mean, depending on where they live, I would say they should have no trouble supporting the household. Now, one thing that, the red pill community always says is that, you can get with a woman who makes more money than you and she considers dating down or believe that she's above you. Well, how long is that going to last? And one of the greatest predictors that I've seen of divorce is if a wife suddenly gets a bump in income and thus starts making more than her husband. That right there, as people have said, has been a predictor of divorces where women decide, they want something more now. The guy was okay when she made less than that, but once she gets that jump in income and makes more than him, now she thinks she's above him and she wants something more. So again, telling men to get their paper up is more a matter of, maintaining your respect of women than anything. But where is the contradiction here? I mean, this here is an absolute reach. But moving on.
I guess I was thinking your content was supposed to bring the black family back together.
Holy shit! How many times have I? Can somebody else do? Let me bring somebody else on.
But you're not. But
if people are getting, if there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 couples getting married because of me, that's bringing the black family back. Go.
But for
five,
every five
listen, please. 5 people, 5 couples, black couples married.
I got you, brother. I won't even argue with you on that.
You can't argue this shit. I tried to let you off, man, but you're still pushing this point. Rooted in nothing.
Because I don't think you understand what I'm getting to. My point is, you may have 4 or 5 or maybe even 10 people that come on and say they've gotten married, but the majority, I'm focused more on the majority. That's all. I'm just saying the majority of women are not receiving it. They're pushing back. If you've got 1,000 women and only 10 women are getting married out of 1,000, then the majority aren't receiving it. That's the only thing I'm trying to get to.
Good show.
Is Kevin Samuels trying to bring families together? Well, if you look at his message, you look at the message that he basically preaches. He preaches a message of blacks doing the things that we were doing when we had the highest marriage success rates, when we were married at a higher rate than any other group. Well, ever since modernism, now we're at the bottom of the barrel of that. So if he's teaching principles that we were doing as a race, or black people back then were doing when we had the highest marriage success rates, how would he not be trying to bring families together? Now, this gentleman brings up this stat of where if only 10 out of 1,000 women in your circle or on your forums or whatever have gotten married, then that's a low success rate and something to brag about. And then he claimed that these women are pushing back against Kevin Samuels in his message. Well, if these women are pushing back against his message and they're not listening, then how do you blame Kevin Samuels for that? Well, apparently the small percentage of women who have gotten married, they listened. They didn't push back. I mean, if I give you advice about something and tell you you shouldn't do something because it's a terrible idea and you should do this instead, you don't listen and you keep doing what you're doing and you get terrible results, then is it my fault? Do you blame me because of this? And this is what this guy is saying. He contradicts himself. First, he claims that there's only a small percentage of black women are getting married, listening to the advice, and then you turn around and say because they're pushing back. Of course, they're going to have a small percentage of marriage listening to his views. If they're pushing back on them, that's common sense. Anyway, like I said, this video is a joke. It's full of, like I say, beware of the leftist 3-second clip, because they take stuff and these 3-second clips, you don't know the full context, because they're very good at removing the context of what was going on, because they have to do this in order to make a point. Now, it seems as this Salt Tea chick or whatever her name is, she basically is going to make a career out of trying to demonize Kevin Samuels on specific things that he's supposed to say, while again ignoring a wide variety of the content that he talks about. He talks about more than just the issues that's in his video that she tried to critique in that video, but none of it is legitimate. It's all nonsense that she's trying to demonize him about. Again, it's all reaches. It's all taking things out of context and combining different videos of different shows. to try to say that Kevin Samuels lies. It's ridiculous. Regardless of what you think of him, his message is on point. His message of people, black folks being better as far as economically, it's on point. And I just don't believe, I'm trying to figure out why, if he's giving successful messages, a message that's going to help black people, make black people more economically sound in America and more viable economically, why would we not listen? You know why? Because he destroys victimhood, and there's too many black people in America has to cling to victimhood, and this is why he receives such hate. Again, this is a stupid video, nonsensical video, and I pretty much debunked it. And if I see another video of her, I've seen a couple of videos of hers, I may debunk those as well, because I mean, like I say, this hate amongst black people needs to stop now. They're the haters. But anyway, y'all, as always, until next time.